All right, guys, so let's go ahead and go over, you guys. We'll have a test coming up here soon. All right, so we're going to go over this assignment today. Make sure you listen and follow all instructions. Okay, you should be doing, for this first assignment, you're going to follow exactly what I do. You need to make sure you listen to everything because everything is going to be used when you guys do this next part on your own. Okay, you guys are going to end up doing a baseball, CPAW, and a sport of your choice. Okay, but this first part, I'm going to show you how I got the CPAW, the soccer ball that you use. I'm going to show you how to do that now. So make sure you're listening to everything as I go through this. Okay, so first thing, we're going to create a CPAW that has the soccer ball like embedded within it. We're going to do that using different layer masks. So first things I need to do is I need to get a CPAW. Okay, so I'm going to go. Now you guys can use the links I already have in there to use it for this one, but you're going to need this for the next one per se. Okay, so I'm going to type in Crescent High School, and I'm going to pull up images. And as you can see, we've got some of the images there, and I want the CPAW, and this is actually the first one I want in here. Now, instead of downloading it, I'm actually just going to go ahead. I'm going to click Create New here. I'm going to use the default one. All right, and I'm just going to drag, and I'm going to drop it in. That's it. Easy. Okay, I didn't download it, didn't do any save as. All right, but Command T, so I can now transform it. Oh, as you guys can see from the last assignment, I left that unclicked. All right, so I want to connect, make sure that this link is connected there, and now I can transform it. Okay, and that's a good size. I want to drag it over there. Now let's go ahead and we've got to get our soccer ball. All right, and we already know we're good. It's not, didn't come in as a smart object, so I don't have to rasterize. That little symbol is not in the bottom corner there. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to type soccer ball. Now I want to type soccer ball, but because I'm under images, I want to use not more. I want to use tools, and I want to say that I want it to be a large file size, meaning it should be a little bit better quality. Now, I typed in soccer ball, and here we go. I don't want like a legit one. You guys can do that if you want. I'm going to use something more like this, and I'm going to drop it in here just like I did the last one. I'm going to go ahead and rename my layer. So I got soccer ball layer, and I have my CPAW layer. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my soccer ball, and just as I have it, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to try to make it very similar size. I want it to be a little bit bigger than that. Now, if I want to, just to make this easier, I'm going to do boom. So I've got it a little bit bigger, but to make sure, I'm going to just use my object selection tool. I want to use that. Let's see there. Okay, it selects that. As you can see, it missed some of the edge there, so you could go back in there with your quick selection tool. I'm on positive. All right, I want to make sure it gets all that black. It's okay if it goes over the edge a little bit for what we're doing today. And we could go in there and edit that out just a little bit. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to right click and do select inverse. I'm going to delete everything else. Now, I hit the delete key and you probably didn't notice the difference. Watch right here. I'm on Command Z. All right. It gets rid of everything else. Okay. So there we go. When we hide this, you can see right there. Okay. Everything else but that is gone. Okay. So now I'm going to Command D to deselect. I've got this. And now when I drag this over, we can see, all right, it fits over it pretty well. I'm going to add my background back. Okay. Now that I have that, what I want to do is I want to create a layer mask. And to do that, right, I'm going to first go over to my CPAW, and now I'm going to use select, and I'm going to use my color range, just because what I want to do is I want to grab, all right, this yellow. I don't want the black, all right, and I have that. You could also use the select tool to go in there and do that. And now that I have that, I'm going to click OK. It's going to select that for me. Now, what is selected is what's going to help me use the create a mask. So what is selected will automatically pop up as white on my mask, and whatever is black, you can't see through. Okay, you see this a lot in printing. So wherever there is white, the image, under image can come through. Wherever is black, you cannot see, just like the face swap. Okay, so now that I have that area selected, I can click my layer mask button. And what you'll notice is it popped up right there. Now, I don't want it to pop up there. And as you can see, it hid everything else that wasn't the yellow. Now, I'm going to Command Z because that's not where I wanted to pop up. Now that I have this selected, I can switch back to my soccer ball layer, right? And I can hit my layer mask button. And now, remember, the layer mask is only right here. If you look over here in this corner, if you were to zoom in, you can see that this tiger paw is on the left-hand side. There's a bunch of blank space. Now, what I'm going to do to kind of fix that is I'm going to click this in between this image and this image, right? I'm going back and forth. There is this little link. If I unclick that link, what I can now do, using my move tool, my soccer ball was in this area. Let's see here. I can grab it. Actually, what we can also do, we can switch to that one. And as you can see, if I grab, there is that C paw. Now, you can really see how they're lining up, and you can adjust them like that. Now, if I also wanted to be able to grab it, you could click on here, Command T, and you can use that to find it. All right, and now you can move it around like that as well. Now, you can't see everything as well, right? Because we're really missing an outline. Okay, so just to make sure it's big enough, I'm going to make sure, all right, and I don't want my edges in here, so I'm going to move it over. All right, that's about kind of where I want it, so I'm going to say okay. Now, the biggest problem is even though that is in there, it looks okay, it doesn't look great. So what we're going to do, we are going to, first of all, we're going to add a new layer right here, and then I'm going to name this layer outline because what it's going to be is my outline for my C-paw. So I'm going to use what we've learned before. Now, there are multiple ways you guys can do this, okay? I'm going to show you two different ways here in just a second that you can get this outline. Remember, with Photoshop, it's about knowing how to use different tools. Even if you're not great with one, you can manipulate and do better, okay? And still get the same or similar outcome, okay? So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to make sure I'm on my C-paw layer. I'm going to do Select. I'm going to use Color Range. And now instead of the yellow, I'm going to use the black. So I chose the black there. All right. And that's going to pop up just because that's visible. So if we want to make sure boop, that's gone, we can go back, select color range, and now that's gone. And now instead of the yellow, we choose the black. We can turn this up, all right, to where it will grab more of the black. We want it to grab a good bit of that. All right, so turn the fuzziness up a good bit. Alright, and I'm going to just kind of click around until it gets to where I want it. That's not what I wanted. Alright, and now that it's up there, I'm going to click OK. And now it has that. And then what I want to do, I'm going to Command plus. And you've got two options here. You can do like you did earlier. Alright, so for example, if we go to our outline layer with that selected, we could use our paintbrush, right? It's already got black there. And we could go in and paint this in, okay? That is one option. So I'm going to go over, as you can see, all right? That is one option. And now we have that outline, okay? That is what we can call outline one, all right? I'm going to give you guys a couple different ways you can do this. So that's outline one. And now as we do this, if I hit Command D, deselect, I can grab this, Command minus to zoom out. I can grab this outline. All right. And now I can kind of put it over where it needs to be. All right. And it's going to be a little bit off. That's okay. I'm going to click back on my outline. And then you can use your arrow keys to kind of do a little more minute moving. And there we go. That is one option. Okay. Now I'm going to give you guys another outline option. So and you can see how big of a difference having that outline there makes. Okay. Even though that follows it exactly. Now another option for this would be simply, we could use our quick select tool. Make sure you're selected on the right layer. You'll get that error message I just did. You go around and select that. Actually, I'm going to do Command Z. So instead, I'm going to use the color range just because it's quicker. You could go in there individually, select those, but Command undo that. All right. The color range, not Command, the color range is just so much quicker, right? So now that we have that, turn that up. Instead, your other option is jump it to a new layer. So that is what I was about to say earlier, Command J. and that jumps it to a layer on its own. So if I cut this eye off, you can see, boom, there it is. Okay, exactly. We jumped into a new layer, and then we could click and drag, all right, this to fit right where we want it to, right? And now what we might want to do is make sure we set that on top, and that way it takes presence. And then like we said before, you can kind of move it around, or if you need to shrink it a little bit, right, Command T would allow you to shrink it down to size and kind of make it fit a little bit better, right? You can do that and adjust to where now you don't have as much of that gap. All right, boom, there you go. All right, so this at this point, you don't have to have all of these layers, right? This would be our outline too. You only have to have one outline layer, but as a reminder, and also go ahead, use your crop tool here just for the sake of it. Oh, hold up. Don't worry about your crop tool. It's fine. But just make sure when you go to do it that you move this down to the bottom corner. I need to see that you had your CPAW in there originally, but the visibility should be cut off. One outline, you can choose which one, and then I'm going to be looking for this with your layer mask. All right, and remember, if you want to go back in there, hold down the Alt key or the Option key. You can click right there, and you can edit from there. Right? Okay, so it should look something just like that. All right, or like that. That is what I'm looking for. You guys are going to Command Shift 5, and then screenshot just this section here that I'm doing right there. You'll click capture and you're good to go. All right, submit that, and then the next one is you will do on your own. Okay, so to do that on your own, make sure you guys, if you need to, go back to the beginning of the video, look about how you drag and drop that in. You're going to do that for a couple other sports themes, baseball, softball, some anything like that. But each one of those, I'm going to be looking for the same thing. Okay.